The Indian government had last month allowed the UK-based University of Southampton to set up a campus in India. It was a revolutionary step in the Union government's efforts to internationalize India's education system. The University of Southampton, which is among the top 100 universities in the GQS World Rankings, will set up its campus in Delhi NCR, to be precise, in Gurgaon. Hello and welcome to The Print. This is Fariha Iftikhar, an assistant editor covering education. And today we are joined by Sir Andrew Atherton, Vice President International and Engagement, University of Southampton, and Ritika Chandra, who is the Director Education, British Council. Welcome to The Print.
Thank you for having
us. Thank you for joining us today. And today we are going to discuss more on the University of Southampton, its plans, and how it is going to start its new campus in India. My first question will be for Mr. Atherton. Sir, would like to know, first of all, what prompted the University of Southampton to take this leap?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. Really appreciated. Funnily, we don't see it as a leap. We see it as a very natural next step and a very important next step for the university. So just a little bit of background about why. So one of the key parts of the strategy for the University of Southampton, which, as you say, we're top 100, we're 80th in the world in the QS rankings, is to become more globalized and become more international. And our view is that the world of higher education is changing. It's more interdependent, and the models of provision of higher education are changing. And so one of the big shifts that we believe in is that whereas maybe historically students come to the university overseas, which will still be very important, it's increasingly important that the university goes to the students as well. And there are lots of reasons for that. Understanding the global context, understanding key countries in that global context, understanding the world of the student in their own country is really important. So that's an overall approach. So why India, I guess, is the next question. Yes. You would ask about that. So, you're now the world's largest country by population. So you're one of the most important countries in the world. You're one of the fastest emerging countries in the world. You have, as a society, extremely talented and capable people who've got a high level of desire and ambition to invest in their own human capital through higher education, fantastic results from secondary board of education, so very talented students, not all of whom could necessarily afford to go overseas to be able to access a University of Southampton education or an education in a UK university. So we actually see huge opportunity to engage with that talent, and the talent pool in India is enormous. As well as that, obviously, at the moment, it's a very entrepreneurial country, startup India and startup nation, and we're very strong on enterprise and knowledge exchange and engagement. So there are some really exciting things going on in terms of entrepreneurship, tech entrepreneurship as well, that we've very much engaged with. And then also, thirdly, research is really important to us. And if you look at the scale and the size of India and the development opportunities, but also the development challenges, say around infrastructure or aspects of socioeconomic development, and so on. We can do that research from the UK, but it's far better to do that research in the location in situ. And it is one of the most interesting and possibly one of the most complex environments, so therefore a very fertile ground for research. But also, if we do it in India, we can have a direct impact. And there are some fantastic universities in India who we want to collaborate with. And again, you can only really collaborate properly and fully if you're in the ecosystem. You can't do it at distance. So there's no one reason, but I think from our perspective, because our strategy is to build campuses all over the world, India, or not every country in the world, but multiple campuses globally, India is the most important and the most attractive location for us for all the reasons that I've just laid out. So it wasn't a leap. For us, it was a natural priority to focus on India for our first major campus development over the last decade.
So, I would like to know what is the 10-year plan of the university here in India, and how do you think it will be beneficial for Indian students particularly?
Yeah. So in terms of 10 years, we've got a quite an ambitious plan. We're planning to open the campus in August 2025 for the first intake of students, so 12 months from now. We start with 4 undergraduate programs and 2 postgraduate programs in business and computing, and then every year over that 10 years, we introduce new undergraduate courses and postgraduate courses. So by the end of that 10-year period, there'll be over 30 different courses across the full subject range that we offer here in the UK in Southampton. So the India campus will look more and more like the Southampton campus. And that's really important for us because one of the commitments that we have made, and one of the things that we think is absolutely essential, is that students who study at the University of Southampton Delhi campus receive exactly the same degree, same certificate, same degree, same structure, so they know that when they graduate in India with the Southampton degree, it's the same degree as a student who would graduate in the UK with the Southampton degree, and there's no differentiation, same quality, same experience, because that then means that that degree from University of Southampton, Delhi, will be recognised globally in India and beyond as exactly the same. So growth in courses, growth in the campus as we grow the student numbers. But to give you a sense of it, our aim is to get to at least 5,500 students over the first 10 years. We'll start much smaller, about 150 to 200 students in the first year, and then grow from there. So obviously over that period, we'll be expanding and growing the campus, so it can provide world-class facilities for those students. So it's quite ambitious. Our aspiration is that it will provide an outstanding student experience, and it will also be what we call in Southampton, because this is the case for our UK campus as well, it'll be a triple helix campus. So it will offer education, it will also offer world-class research, and also be undertaking enterprise knowledge exchange as well, which is our triple helix in the UK. And that's exactly because we want the experience and the feel of the campus in India to be the same as if a student or a member of staff was either to study or work at the same equivalent campus in the UK. So it doesn't feel, I mean, it'll feel different because the location's different, but the experience overall and the quality of that experience is comparable and equivalent across all campuses.
And what will be the composition of teachers?
Yeah, so we're going to hire globally. So, for example, we've just gone out for our first hires, including the academic provost who will lead the campus. That's advertised on global websites. It's on the University of Southampton website. So we'll have faculty from all over the world, UK faculty, faculty from other countries as well. And that's very much what we want to do. We want to create a diverse, multinational environment with a diverse multinational faculty, and also over time increasing mobility of students from our campuses in the UK to India, and also from India to the UK. So we do want this to feel international as a campus. Some faculty will almost certainly be Indian. You've got fantastic talent in India, and they'll be part of that broader group where we're expecting multiple countries, staff from multiple countries, to be faculty in the India campus.
There's a lot of interest among students to know like what is going to be the admission process. They want to know, will there be like sufficient scholarships as well for Indian students?
Yeah, so 3 things about admissions. So the first one is that we want to ensure that the admission standards compared to those in the UK. So in terms of academic standards, we will be looking for those to be comparable to UK, maybe not always exactly the same, but in the overall range, because we know they're excellent students. So we're looking to recruit the best possible students that we can do, firstly. Secondly, we will absolutely be offering scholarships. We've committed that we will be investing a significant amount of the tuition fees and revenues that the campus has into scholarships, and in very broad terms. And as we develop and launch the website, we'll provide the details of that. We will focus on scholarships in two broad areas. So we'll focus on academic excellence, as you would imagine. So the brightest and best students will receive very favourable scholarships to study at University of Southampton, Delhi. We also recognising that there's a broad range of affordability in India, and there are very good students from families and households that have maybe lower incomes. We'll focus also enabling talented young people from families that don't necessarily have the income to be able to fully afford the tuition fees themselves to receive scholarships as well. So academic excellence and encouraging participation and engagement from families and households with lower incomes that meet, or we can provide a contextual offer because they've showed enough potential to be able to meet our standards, would also be eligible, because we want to open this up to as many people as we possibly can do. If they have the talent, we should be offering opportunities for them to come and study at University of Southampton, Delhi.
So scholarships will be given on the basis of both merit and the financial background, right?
That's correct. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly it. And then in terms of how to apply, which I think it was behind the question. So we only received the approval from University Grants Commission on the 28th of August. So we're working very fast, and we are expecting to be able to have the website live and available in October, probably mid-October, for applications to be made formally. But again, we'll provide details of that, but it'll be soon. It'll be in the next month or so that we'll be opening up for formal applications. And as you quite right said, we've had a lot of positive interest, but it's very important that we have a very clear and transparent and robust application process, which will be web driven, to ensure that we can log applicants as they come through, review their applications, and then make offers in a clear and timely way.
My next question is for Ritika. Now, I would like to know how University of Southampton coming to India, how it is going to further strengthen the bilateral ties. If you can just throw a light, and you can also take us through like what role British Council played during this entire process. I'm sure this is going to be a journey for you.
Yes, that's right. The British Council, as an organization, we are committed to creating partnerships and deepening collaboration between UK and India. That's the whole purpose of our being here. And we engaged with this process the minute the UGC put out the draft consultation, some of it even before the draft regulation came about. As the NEP 2020 was announced, we stepped up to create conditions for the collaboration. We kind of worked on the negotiations for the mutual recognition of qualifications. We sort of promoted partnerships on the foreign collaboration regulations on T&E partnerships. And then when the the regulation for international branch campus was put out for consultation, we consulted the whole UK sector, asking them to tell us what would make it work for the UK. And we put this out, and there was a lot of interest, lot of comments came through. We collated that comment and we took it through to the UGC so that we were able to make sure that the clauses were workable for UK universities to participate in this exercise of setting up a branch campus here. We also got together UK universities that have branch campuses and organized a meeting, a collaboration, collaboratively meeting the UGC chairman, to talk through their concerns, because they had concerns about the various processes involved. And the amazing thing that we really appreciated about the UGC was how open they were to listening to suggestions that were coming through, and to responding, and to answering and responding to the concerns of the UK universities. And we kind of facilitated that process. And we then, when UGC was open when the application came around, we promoted it to UK universities. Southampton, of course, were on the front foot on this, and they were there with the UGC working together. If you're the first one and you're a pioneering university in that sense, so I have to give a lot of credit to Andrew and his team, who did an excellent job of trying to understand things which sometimes not familiar. Even if you're saying the same thing, you may understand it differently. They took care to make sure that they understood everything, and the UGC took care to listen and provide that support. And we were there, we watched, and we hope new universities will come through, but I think Southampton will be a bit special, being the first one that we worked through to understand. So it was a learning journey for all of us, and we kind of marshaled through and have reached this, and we are pausing to celebrate at this point before we go on again onwards.
And how do you think it's going to further strengthen the bilateral ties?
I think it's going to have a great impact. The one thing that I like about what Andrew says when he speaks about the Southampton University is how it will fit into the Indian higher education ecosystem, which I'm sure will get a lot of energy for Southampton's being there. There'll be new perspectives, fresh exchange of ideas, and fresh collaboration. So, that part of enriching the higher education system will somehow happen organically, is my belief. But other than that, for Indian students, each year we have the HISA data for 23-24, and it has some 173,000 young people going to the UK. But for all of them, because we work a lot with students, we know the number that cannot make it there, and they would like the same experience. And it's just fantastic to be able to offer some of the UK qualification and the UK study experience to others who may not be able to travel, but will have an option of a UK university in country. So it's going to be amazing for increasing the choices on offer for Indian students as a whole to get a global experience in country.
Yeah,
that's going to help as well. We believe that students will be mobile. They'll do their undergraduate in one place, go to study in other places, and they'll carry the experience with them, enriching, bringing with them new ideas and taking those away. And that's going to help as well. There's going to be collaboration between, in research, in other areas. So I'm sure that it's going to have a very deep impact. And I think one of the impact will be after they see the success of Southampton University, there'll be other universities, not just from UK, I'm sure, but from other countries as well, who will want to, enter into this foray and, contribute in many other ways, in many other subject areas, in many other fields. It's a very rapidly developing area. Technology is bringing across new subjects, new disciplines, new specializations, and all of that will enrich the whole ecosystem and the bilateral partnership. So
since you've just mentioned, I have a question. Do you have more universities in the pipeline who are coming now from the UK?
Yes, there are more universities. Hopefully, over the years, they will work through. It's not, UK universities, particularly the top universities, are very conscious of their reputation, very meticulous in thinking through what they want to do, and they are working through their process. It's not an easy process for any universities, which makes me admire Southampton even more, because I know that there's rigorous work involved in understanding. It's a significant commitment for any universities, and it's understandable that they will take time over it, but there's a lot. So as I said, even at this stage of consultation, there's a lot of universities who actually came forward and gave their inputs on what they wanted to see in the regulations, and those universities that did are actually interested. So I don't expect all UK universities to line up, but I'm sure there'll be a lot who do.
One more question to Mr. Atherton. Since we are saying that you have ensured that the standard will be maintained at par with the UK campus, right? Like when we are saying that what all things will be kept in mind?
Yeah, so absolutely. So so two general points on that, I think. So the first one is we will use the UK entry requirements as a reference point, but obviously we will be sensitive to the local context in India, and we'll look particularly at how that maps across to the Secondary Board of Education exams and the grades. So it will be sensitive to an understanding of the Indian context and the performance and the quality of Indian students. So we'll produce our own requirements in India, and that'll be very clear for all potential applicants. So it's a reference point, and it's very important that we make sure it's clear in India. Secondly, you're absolutely right. We will focus on and ensure that we have very high quality teaching and learning environments, not just formal teaching, but learning environments and social environments as well. This is we see this as much a campus of the University of Southampton as any of our other campuses. This is, in that sense, it is part of the core and the mainstream of the university, and therefore the experience will be absolutely the same. So and that's our commitment, and it's absolutely essential that students who come and study with us in India know the quality of the campus, the infrastructure is as good as they would get in Southampton. So that's absolutely a commitment. If I could make a couple of broader points, if that's all right, just quickly building on what Ritika's said. One of the really exciting things for us about India is that if you look at the performance in secondary board exams, if you look at the gross enrollment ratio, so the number of school leavers going to university, if you look at the desire to invest in your own or your children's education, all three of those are growing so quickly and expanding and improving so quickly in India that the fundamental challenge that India has is you've got very bright, very good young people leaving school and wanting to go to the best possible universities anywhere in India or internationally. And you have many wonderful universities in India, but the pace of growth and the pace of expansion of demand means there is more than enough room and more than enough space, not just for Southampton, but for other universities. So this is not about Southampton coming into India and saying we're the only university there and we just want to recruit students. This is about us being, as Ritika said, as part of an ecosystem, collaborating with Indian universities, working with policymakers, NGOs, employers, and being absolutely embedded into Indian society, the economy, the policy environment. And that's very important to show that long-term commitment to India, but also it's very important for the students for their employability and premium placement opportunities after they graduate. But from a university perspective, if you're an Indian university, the pie is growing so quickly, the scale of the number of students who want a really world-class education in India grows every day and will continue to grow every day. So we're actually very comfortable that there's more than enough demand, and actually the real need is to grow capacity in India for world-class education to respond to that increasing demand from very, very talented, very capable applicants and students.
Yeah, this is a challenge for all of us here, like demand versus supply and availability.
Exactly. And at the moment, the demand is growing and the quality of demand is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And universities in India are growing as well, but actually they're not growing quite as quickly as the demand. So it's really important that we respond to the future potential of those young people and ensure we can offer an education to as many of them as we possibly can do so they can fulfill their potential.
So if the Southampton University is also expecting to get students from across the world in
So
the Delhi
we
campus, I mean.
Yeah, so we do believe that a lot of students will be interested in, Southampton Delhi camps will be from India, but we will be looking to attract and recruit international students to study for the full period there as well, because we think that will be very good. It creates an international experience and it'll create a diverse student population and body. So although there is a huge amount of demand, as we just talked about in India, we very much want to attract students. And it might well be that, for example, students from South Asia, Southeast Asia, and East Asia feel it's closer and more accessible to come to India rather than go to the UK. I also think there will be students from the UK and Europe and North America who are fascinated and intrigued and interested in India, who would find the opportunity to be able to study there really compelling. So I think there'll be a lot of students who will be very attracted to it. And also, as a key part of this, we're encouraging mobility of students between all of the University of Southampton campuses. We already have a campus in Malaysia, but it would also be students in campuses in the UK and encouraging them to have some or even all of their education in India, because the reality is our graduates are global citizens. They'll be more mobile than we are, even though we're very mobile. They'll be working in multinational, multi-ethnic, multicultural teams, whichever organizations, employers they work for, large, small, public, private. So we need to prepare them for that globalized world that they will live in and will be natives in as well. So it's really important that we create multiple opportunities for that to be an international experience and for those intercultural exchanges and experiences to be a fundamental part of University of Southampton, Delhi.
My last question for you, and it is also like a very question of interest, and people would like to know about it. So while fixing the fee for University of Southampton India campus, the Gurugram Delhi NCR campus, so it will be kept in mind like the India standard fee structure, or like it will be at par with the UK fee structure?
So we do recognise that that there are existing fee structures for existing universities in India, and we're very aware of and sensitive to that. So we will set the fee at a fee that recognises the overall landscape in India. So it won't be the same fee. It'll be a lower fee than if students come to Southampton. Obviously, we're a world-class top 100 university, so it will still be a significant investment in a student's future and their education. But it won't be at the same level, so it'll be less than the fee will be if they came to the UK or went overseas to another country like Australia or the US or Canada as well.
I think that's a very encouraging update for a lot of Indian students who are looking forward for the campus to come up. Thank you so much, Radhika. Thank you so much, Atherton sir, for joining us. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you.
And thank you. And we are really so excited about the India campus. It's one of the most important and most positive developments for the University of Southampton. So we're very much, the strapline we've used is joining hands with India, and we're very much looking to continue to join hands with India and launch. And thank you very much for the time. Very much appreciate the questions and the opportunity to engage in this interview.
Thank you for your time.